technology.
Welcome.
Hi, Mr. Jones, members of the board. My name is Rosie Marsh. I'm the Huron PTO president, and I know that the board, the Huron PTO board, presented to you probably about 6 months ago, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time in detail explaining each event, more about what our goals and missions are for the year, what we've already done, and some other things that are coming up. Just to refresh, I'm Rosie, I'm the president, and I will let the others who are present with me tonight introduce themselves as well.
I am Susie Kudrin, I'm the vice president.
I'm Missy Reinhardt, and I'm the social media secretary.
Okay, we also have Ashley Misnick is our treasurer, and social recording secretary, is Tina Cook. And I will start off with our community events this year. Our ice cream social we had this year. This you guys put on. We did sprinkles this year. It went over really well. The kids loved it. It was exciting, and we had a ton of people sign up for PTO this year, more than ever, and actually pay their dues. So we have a lot more members this year. Our 5K glow run. This was our first year for that. We were part of the 5K series, and it was very successful. We did it in the evening. We had the 5K. We started at Woodlands and then ended at Woodlands. And then when that was over, we had a kids fun run, which was awesome. The high school cross country team ran with them, and the kids thought it was like the best thing ever to run with these high school kids. And after that, we had a glow party in the gym. So we had like sunglasses and glow sticks and rings and everything you can imagine. And it was a huge success. I think we made way over the amount of money that we expected to make on it. So that is something we'll definitely continue next year. Book fair started today at Woodlands, and it'll run all week, and then we have our Donuts with Grown-Ups on Wednesday, which will overlap with that. So Tuesday and Wednesday, sorry. So the kids will have stations. They'll have 4 stations, and one of the stations will be the book fair they can go to with their grandparent or their grown-up, and they can purchase books for them. Tiger Tinsel is new this year. So we always did our penguin patch at Christmas time where the kids could come in and buy crap for their families. And it literally was like horrible quality, expensive stuff. So Missy actually took it on herself this year. She has been shopping at Walmart clearance all year round, and her basement is full of everything Walmart clearance you can imagine. So the kids will get better items for much cheaper prices. So the highest item we have is $5. And we have like waffle makers and jewelry. I mean, a ton of good stuff that they can actually buy. So I'm excited to see how that goes. The Red Kettle with Salvation Army is also new this year. So we will do at Huron Market on December 2nd, 9th. Just kidding. December 9th. We'll be ringing the bell all day out there. PTO will. So we'll probably have like hour time slots to help with Salvation Army. Scholarships for seniors is something we have always done. We usually do 1 or 2 $500 scholarships for seniors and we base it mostly off of volunteer hours. And kindergarten screening. That is something we started a few years ago where we have the kindergartners come in and we give them this huge oversized pencil and this piece of paper and we get their picture and have them sign a piece of paper. Okay. 23-24 appreciation. Teacher wish list. This is something that we have always done, but this year we expanded our budget to $10,000 because we knew that there would be a lot of teachers needing a lot of things with new classrooms. So we have had a lot of requests already this year, and we hope to get even more. We have a huge budget for it, so that's something that if the teachers come to, if any of you hear teachers saying they need something for their classroom, any teacher of any grade, they just have to come to a meeting and present to us, and we can okay it. So our wish list was this year, we give every teacher at Woodlands $100 to spend if they come to a PTO meeting. So this just started last year. They had to come to a meeting, and honestly, attendance was not that great. We did not have a lot of teachers come. So we're hoping this year that they'll understand that to get that $100, they have to just attend one meeting. That's it. And they get $100 for free from Amazon, or teachers pay teachers. Is that it? Okay. Kona Ice Truck for teachers. We did this for the teacher and service day for them, and then we also had it again at open house that night. Conference night meals is something we will do at Woodlands for both nights of conferences. They will get a meal from Berardi's their first night, and the second night we're going to do some kind of snack bar for them. And then Teacher Appreciation Week in May. We haven't really started planning that yet, but it will happen. And it's going to be different than last year, I believe. We're going to each do a day, like instead of all of us putting our money together, we're going to ask the board to do one day, teachers or PTO do one day, and so on. So that'll be different, but you'll hear more about that later. Is that it? Okay.
All right, I'm in charge of fundraisers. So we did Spirit Wear this beginning of this year. It's still going on. It did close, and I asked them to reopen it, so maybe like some Christmas gifts, maybe. The 5K glow run, that was excellent.
Just to
What
pipe
else?
in, we made 6 times more than we had budgeted for our 5K, so it was amazing. So
Yeah. So if you didn't know, I was in charge of that too.
Yeah.
My laugh in July, and I just put it on. I did the best I could. I came up with a committee. I had a committee of about 10 people, and we just put it in. Book fairs. We have the Scholastic Book Fair going on now, and then in the spring we're gonna try Literati. We have not tried this before, but it's just like another company, kind of like Scholastic. Meat sticks. Don't worry, guys. I will have your meat sticks again this year. Don't worry, I will. I know you guys are so excited for it. That will go on sale the week of our Thanksgiving break, and we'll send them home the week before they have all Thanksgiving break and return them, and then they'll be here by Christmas time. And then we will do Mally's again in Easter time ish. So like March-ish, April-ish. I don't remember when Easter is, but one of those days. Yes. Oh, Dine with Domino's. Sorry. Dine with Domino's is the 4th Tuesday of every month. If you order anytime during that day, they give us 10% back. So you can order lunch, you can order dinner, you can order snacks. Get hungry at like 9 o'clock at night, go ahead and order it. They're going to give us 10% of the sales for the day. All right.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I'm Ashley. I'm the treasurer of the PTO. I'm going to go through our 2023-2024 meetings. So at every meeting we do like celebration and member spotlight for someone who's gone above and beyond for the PTO and their efforts. And so this past month, Missy was our spotlight person because of the 5K and all her efforts within the 5K. We have guest speakers every month. So Dr. Chapman was a speaker, and we're going to have Dr. McDonald as a speaker next month. And we had some people from Salvation Army and Connectivity, this past month. And so we're getting involved with the Salvation Army during Christmas time. December 9th is our day of ringing the bell if anybody wants to volunteer with the PTO. Teacher liaison, so each teacher within the, each group of teachers within the school system has their own, like, one person that comes to every meeting and kind of like communicates everything that we talk about in the PTO. So not everybody has to be there. We have subcommittee reports because, there's this many. And we can't do it all, so we have set up subcommittees and really have given them control in doing those fundraisers. And then the budget report, that's me. This year we have the pleasure of spending lots of money on our schools, and we want to go negative 10,000. So a lot of that is going to our teachers. So the teachers have a $10,000 budget for teacher requests. And then there's also a special budget for Mr. Kuzbel for $4,000 to make the Woodland School his own. So in all, we're spending $14,000 extra that we normally wouldn't spend to help make this transition on our school systems. The subcommittee signups, we just have those at every meeting. And then classroom incentives for parent representation. So Julie Machukas is doing that for us. And that is just the participation we have in our meetings. We make a log of every classroom that's there based on parents and teacher participation. And those classrooms get a gift on the PTO. And this month is a special Halloween bookmark that can be colored. And so Julie is tying the ribbons herself on those. And there's 300 of those that go out. So we're very thankful to Julie Machukas for doing all of that. I don't think she realized the undertaking. So without our volunteers and without the people that support us, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So
We're just talk about sprinkles on the ice cream, and I have to give credit to Dr. Tapman for this because he talked about the school system being like the ice cream, and PTO can be like the sprinkles on top, or that extra going above and beyond to help make this an extra special school year. And so I love that analogy. I hope we can make it into a T-shirt sometime because I just love that idea. So ways that we would love to incorporate your participation in the Huron PTO is as follows. You can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook. We also have a Remind app, but Facebook tends to be the most popular way to stay in touch with us. We post at least 3 times a week. Missy's in charge of all of that, and so she does a great job, a minimum. So you're not sure what's going on. That's a great way. You've heard us talk about maybe attending meetings, and so we do have guest speakers. If you would want to come just as a participant, or even if you want to talk on behalf of the board, we'd love to have you sometime. Our meetings are always the second Thursday of every month, except for December, because that's our holiday party. So, I mean, you can come, but we have it always the second Thursday of every month. And then attend events, and I just wanted to say a personal thank you so much for everyone being there for Teacher Appreciation Week last year in the month of May. That really made a difference. All of you were present. We really, truly appreciate your time and effort in being there, and hope that you can continue that tradition this year as well. So if you want to sign up for, book fair time slots, I know Tina Cook, our secretary, would love me to put that plug in for her. They are still looking for like 1 or 2 volunteers for that. Or if you want to donate a dozen donuts, I know they'd appreciate that because they're still looking for some volunteers. They've done a huge effort in maintaining that list on the Sign Up Genius link. So many spots are full, but there's still just a couple in there. So if you have time, tomorrow or this week, we would love for you to take a look at that. And then any other event that's coming up in the near future. And the other thing is, this is just a QR code. I know Dr. Tapman has access to this presentation. If you don't mind maybe forwarding it to the board on our behalf, I'd be appreciative of that. You can see exactly what I was talking about. There's a QR code for a link to a survey for us, but also ways to stay in touch through Remind, our PTO site on Facebook, but also our email address. So, but at this time, that is it. So thank you so much for your time this evening. We hope that we've given you a great summary of things that we've already done, as well as things to come, and also what our mission and goals are for the year ahead. And at this time, we'd like to open up for any questions or feedback.
It's incredible what you guys are doing. Just amazing. I mean, wow. Wow. Are you able to share what your proceeds were from your Glow Run? You said it was 6 times what you had budgeted.
So our goal was to raise $500 because we weren't sure what we were going to be able to do, and we netted almost $3,800.
That's incredible.
So and that was a huge thank you to Lindsay and her committee for reaching out to the community and getting lots of donations from our local businesses. So we're very thankful. We were blown away at the support, and we had over 100 runners, which we also were thankful for that as well, given it was a Saturday night, and sometimes it's hard to get people their Saturday nights free. So we're very, very thankful, and we were blown away by the results.
I can say I appreciate your enthusiasm. I mean, I'm excited just sitting here listening to not only everything you've done, but everything you're planning to do. And we, speaking for the district, we really appreciate, and I know the teachers do. So, of course, especially on my low sodium diet.
Yes.
And I appreciate you being here tonight. It's very. I am glad you could be here. You're welcome anytime. So just thanks for everything. It's amazing. Ours are board.
Yeah.
I think that's,
Thank you. You guys, it's really a lot of fun to see the momentum you've created and the increasing engagement, from all different parties. So congratulations for all the work you put into it, and thank you for what you do for the teachers and the children. Awesome.
Probably had probably 10 teachers there and probably 20 members.
We had over 30
It was awesome. Yeah.
Congratulations.
It hasn't been that way in years.
Congratulations.
Can you guys just share a little bit about the membership levels that you have? If maybe I'm wrong, but basically anyone is welcome to be a participant of PTO, but there is then a paid level. If you
Yeah,
could talk
so
about
at a previous meeting, I talked about membership, kind of like being on a spectrum. There's low level participation and then there's high level participation, and anything in between is welcome at this stage because we just so we all work full time. This is in addition to what we do, and we understand that as parents as well. They have family obligations, they have work schedules, they have children, and everything else that comes with it. So we do have some members that really all they do is scan receipts for box tops. And that is praised and applauded, and thank you for doing that. Whereas we have other members that are able to coordinate events. For example, we have a parent who's not on the board, but she's running Donuts with Grown-Ups twice this year. And so that's a huge commitment as well. So whether someone can just stay at home and scan a receipt all the way to coordinate an event for us, we welcome anybody to come and just even come to meetings, give ideas, ask questions, follow us on Facebook. I mean, everyone can do something. It doesn't have to be coordinating. It can be something very minute and simplistic as well. We are doing membership drives, so you heard us talk about that. So we have, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think as of today we have 34 paying members as well, so that's an extra income for us. But every paying member gets one of these awesome T-shirts, which is fantastic. They get a VIP pass to our holiday party. They get a gift and a volunteer party in May. So they get voting privileges, things like that. But this is the biggest membership that we've ever had. We heard about our attendance at our meeting. So we're hoping that continues, and just kind of preaching that message of anyone can really be a part of PTO. No matter how much or how little they can contribute to their time and effort in this organization.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Yep.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, no offense. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Shut it down.
So next on the agenda, we have our student liaison, Lucy.
All right. So the biggest update we have is we have an update on the collecting the food. So, if you guys don't know, we're planning on collecting raw vegetables and raw fruit from the lunchroom at the high school and donating it back to the wild. Because a lot of our food goes to waste and they can't put it back because we have a salad bar, so it's already been out there. So I talked to the lunch lady today. I forget what her name is. I feel bad. Yes. So she said I have to contact someone. I forget what her name is. I have it written down somewhere. But someone that's more in charge to see if we're actually allowed to do it, because there might be some sanitary issues and just where we're allowed to store it. But hopefully this can take off and we can bring some of the North Point kids to get more involved in the school, and then if it is successful, then maybe putting it in the other schools. So it's definitely something new that's in the process, and it's like a new idea. We're hoping that we can do it, but even if it doesn't work out, we can come up with other ideas about it too. So that's the big thing. Going on to student council, and then I guess otherwise in the school, we just have fall sports are ending, or they already have ended, so we just have playoffs and stuff like that going on. But other than that, at student council, we don't really have much going on. This is the dry spot right now. Oh yeah, Actually, I lied. There is a big thing going on. So right now we have a Goodwill clothing drive going on right now, which is the truck is outside. So that runs from today to Thursday from 11 to 7 every day. So you can bring in anything you want. You can bring clothes, like just random things you have around your house. Yeah, so we're going against Edison, and on Friday is the football game, so that's why we're like paired against Edison. So whichever school truck weighs the most, student council gets $500. So which is pretty nice. It can help cover costs because we didn't make as much from homecoming as we wanted to, so we kind of have to make up for that a little bit. But even if we don't win, we still get $250, which is nice. So, but we want the 500. So
bragging rights.
yeah.
So we want
don't wanna lose.
everybody to clear out their sets of free weights and dumbbells
Yes.
that they're not
Yeah, there
using.
you go.
Yes.
Please bring them in, load them up in the truck.
The heavier the better, definitely.
So the truck will be manned those hours, like from 11
Yes,
to
they have a worker out there, so you just take your stuff.
good, because I want to share that with the donut shop.
And it is housewares.
But
I
it
didn't
didn't
realize
say
it
on
was
there, I was gonna
housewares
ask.
too and everything.
Yeah.
I think the letter that came home said clothing mostly too, so
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure.
Yeah, furniture, everything.
It's the Erie County Goodwill, correct?
Yes.
So it'll stay
Stay local.
local.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we had, I mean, we had some families in August that got flooded out, and so there is definitely a need. There's always a need, and there was a recent fire, home fire. So so this is a good way for the kids to recognize that they can contribute in a positive way to their community, and a friendly competition is always fun as well. So watch out, Edison.
Yeah. But I feel like that's it. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting something, but I think
Time later if we come up with something.
okay.
Trust
And
me,
then
seriously.
next month I'll have another update about the food waste thing. So hopefully that takes.
I was just going to share with the board that Lucy and the girls cross country team won their, I don't know, what number is this? SBC championship, at least the second in a row. But and then Lucy individually finished in the top 10. So their cross country team is ranked, I think, 6th in the state going into now what is technically the postseason for cross country, which is in Galleon this Saturday. I know we have a lot of successful fall sports teams, but our cross country folks have gone to state, at least in some way or the other, for as long as I've been paying attention. 6 years I've been paying attention to cross country, and we've had a presence down there, so it's pretty incredible. So good luck, Lucy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're up to Dr. McDonald with Academic Affairs.
Alright, so in the last couple of board updates, I put a little teaser in there about the work that we are undertaking with Dr. Bolin, David Bolin, and 4 of his colleagues came out and talked with Dr. Tatman an hour or so, I guess, last week to start that whole process. Mr. Bolin conversation took a little bit further than I think what we were expecting, is that there also taking a broader look of how we are assisting academic needs top to bottom. So one of the colleagues that came, her interest in our district is our literacy. So everybody will get a touch somewhere along the line with this improvement plan. And if am happy to report that Betty has received the last invoice.
You holding out?
So that wraps up our track project once we hit payment. If you recall, that project was set for $616,000. A little bit of back and forth with change orders, mostly in our favor, to be honest. About after the fact, after we saw what they did with the dirt and where the drains were, and Al and I and Chad were like, yeah, that's not gonna work for us. So we put those French drains in. Those came in at about $3,300, and they worked fabulous when we had all that rain. Those drains worked. So that difference there is about $7,800. So of that $7,800, we're gonna close that project out, but we're also gonna spend $2,000 of it, of that savings, if you will. The striping company came out, did what they were supposed to do. Like, all set, it's all good. They did it to the National Federation of Track, whatever group standards. And the coaches have asked that we put those back. So out of the savings, we contacted a striping company out of Lakewood, and they said they'll be. All in all, we were under budget about $6,500. So I could say here, even if something happens November through March with those lines, Mike still has the 300 start. He just likes the preferred straight start. We've had lots of conversations about it. So, and we are also fixing. I don't know if you guys saw by the ramp where timing shed is also going to get some work. Chad is working.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That was a
thanks for
huge
that.
undertaking.
Julie.
It looks awesome.
By your
Especially
spare time when the track project's all done.
Yeah, but it's all good.
Anything else for Julie? No. Thank you very much, Julie.
Keeping with the theme of new things, our 2024 October 9th, and if you remember, that is a handicap bus.
Yeah.
So, and my granddaughter said, I got to ride the new bus on Saturday. I said, you did? She was all excited she got to ride the new bus. If you remember, a state grant covers part of that cost, so we have $45,000 that will come to recuperate some of that money. Our donations for the month of September totaled $6,745, and it was for a variety of reasons. Now that the building fund for Shawnee, or Shawnee is obsolete, basically, items on the agenda is to transfer some funds. I talked with so what they determined kind of all together is they're going to take a quarter of what was in the old wooden, the whole Shawnee amount will go to Woodlands, but a quarter of the Woodlands that was at the end of the year will follow the 6th grade up to McCormick. So that's what those two amounts are. So the Shawnee one will be down to 0 then. So that's what those two transfers on the board agenda. Let's see. We're about a quarter of the way into the fiscal year already. It's hard to believe, and we should be at 25% for revenue and expenditures. Looking at our treasurer's report, we're 31% for revenues in all funds, when the general fund was at 33, and expenditures in all funds were 24, while the general fund was just at 22. So right on budget, everything's good there. Also on the agenda, you notice there were a few extra minutes in there. In reflecting back on some of those, there were a few items missing. I listed what we're missing for. So one of them, the June minute, you approved them, but it wasn't actually attached. Maybe Mr. DeMarco had sent them to you. I wasn't sure, but I thought, just to be safe, let's put it on We have a few revised purpose statements and budgets. Those are reflecting increased revenues and expenditures, especially for the junior class trip. Mr. Schaefer determined that it's going to cost way more than we thought in the past. What usually was, it's about $15,000 more than we've had previously. Basketball program, Mr. Miller also wanted to increase his, so those were some revised ones. Other than that, I think that's all I have to type.
So I'm just going to talk about a couple things, then I'll talk about items on the agenda. It's been a busy month with a lot of things behind the scenes, so to speak. So the first is that we did last Thursday close on the sale of Shawnee. So that was a fun activity, working with Betty, legal counsel, and doing kind of a records review for that close process. But ultimately, at the time of the auction, the winning bidder had that amount, and then we had that flood damage. So we worked to mitigate the damaged area so there would be no mold growth and all that fun stuff. As part of that, there was, and we knew it, asbestos tiles and asbestos glue that had to be removed, and so that is a whole nother level of mitigation because of that asbestos carcinogenic. That's a big word. Thanks. And then the next step was getting a quote for reconstruction. So all parties agreed, no one contested that. When we had the auction and the auction closed and it was an as-is, it was as-is the time of the close of the auction. So we got a quote for reconstruction to bring it back to that as-is status. But then working through the auctioneer with the buyer, we negotiated a reduction of the sales price in lieu of the district completing that reconstruction. So that negotiation of that was the exact amount that the reconstruction quote was. So after that price reduction, after commissions to the auctioneer, some title company closing costs, and all other costs, the district had the deposit, the money wired of $1,494,000 and some change. So that money came through, and working with Betty, it's already been placed in an account with Star Ohio. So it's liquid assets that's gaining interest. And right now, Betty will tell you better than I could, but it's a competitive rate. Yeah.
Settlement sheet, when you talked, we got 1.494. We actually got $6,400 more because on the settlement sheet there was some taxes that we didn't have to pay. So we actually got 2 deposits. So we got 1.5 million.
There we go. I pushed us over the edge. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I did forget about it. So that's good. Closed. We still don't know beyond the LLC who the buyer is or what their intention is. Based on working through them with that flood damage and process, I would speculate, total speculation, that they are going to use that building in some way. And I would also speculate that they are aware that it's zoned for R1 residential and it could be used for single family homes, a school, or a church. So knowing that they're going to use the building, a school or a church is what I'd be betting on. So that's that with Shawnee. Looking at the high school for the secure vestibule, again, things are in motion, but not much progress is visible. We do have an order placed for the vestibule part. So coming in between those 2 brick pillars would be a glass and door wall that'll go up 8 feet, and the ceiling's a 9 foot. And then also coming off from this pole to the pole that says STEM on it, that'll have a wall with a door. Again, 8 feet with a 9 foot ceiling. We need to keep it that 1 foot gap for the HVAC system. So to save cost on the project and not having to mess with the HVAC, it was recommended we just bring it down 12 inches, and that'll allow for airflow. And it'll still contain people in spaces. They'll be noticed if they're climbing over an 8-foot wall. And then coming from that center pole to about where it says "Good Vibes Only" will be another glass and metal frame wall with doors to access out. So the space that's kind of open right now would become the high school main office. There'll be furniture in there of 2 workstations for the secretaries, 2 cubicle offices for the principals with desks in there as well, space for copy machine and seated area for visitors and whatnot. So the furniture's been ordered, the vestibule part's been ordered, and we're waiting. They took final measurements, and so then it goes to the shop for drawings and then approval. Then they can give us an anticipated delivery date. So we're still hoping for the December window for that to happen. The other part would be the technology, so that from the secretary's workstation, they can see who's at the door, buzz them in, and then greet them in like they do now, but into the secure vestibule. And then the other part, so I guess any questions about the project or the vestibule or where we're going at? Okay. Yeah, so the staircase, if you go up the stairs right now, there's a door there, and you can't go into the hallway from the stairwell. If you're in the hallway for fire code, you push the panic bar and you come down and you can evacuate the building.
I didn't know if students use that staircase much during the day just for traversing the measurements.
They do a little bit, yeah. So that'll have to redirect. There's a stairwell right here. Yeah. So, and then end of the day, it's a pretty popular way out. So, but they'd be able to go that way. Yep. And then the last that's not on the agenda is the National Association of Pupil Service Administrators. Is a national board that I was on when I was serving in the role of Director of Student Services. They have their conference this week in Cleveland. They're downtown Cleveland. And so Julie, Dana, and I attended today, and we're attending tomorrow as well. Also attending are students, girls in the middle and high school level, and counselors who participated in the ROCKS program. So the ROCKS program is research-based program that about empowering students. Last year they came and presented to the board and shared that. So the founder, who's out of Ohio State University, is presenting in the morning session, and then after that, our students and students from Olmsted Falls, who also participated, will be presenting from a you heard the theory from the creator. Now we're going to tell you what it's how it benefited us, what the experience was like. And why it's good for students to have that opportunity. So that's a great way for us to showcase our students and our programming at the national level, and I'm pretty excited to see them and go from there. So, about the room. So the Drury in downtown Cleveland is the former Cleveland Metropolitan School District central office, and so it's like a 1920s Art Deco style. It's a really kind of a neat building, but the room we're in is like their old board office conference room. As you go down the hall, they gave their like little breakout rooms different fun names like the board office and the superintendent, the treasurer's office, and things like that. So it's kind of also a neat place to just be in and observe and see. It kind of has an old bank feeling with it as well. So yeah, but it's cool. It's a cool venue.
To video our kids doing their ROCKS program tomorrow,
Yeah, so
and then just let the board see what
yeah.
they did, because they did such a wonderful job when they presented last year. That I'd love to see what they do this year. If that's permissible, it'd be great to see that.
Yeah. So if nothing else, at least highlights. We can get some highlights. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So on the agenda for board action is 2 out-of-state trips. One's out of the country. French class is seeking interest in going to France, so that would be June of 2024. And I reminded them that the Olympics are also that same summer, but late July, early August. So they'll be avoiding that the Olympic crush. And then the other is the junior class trip going to DC. This will be the second year since we had to put it on hiatus. But last year the kids had a fun time, right?
I think.
Oh, those who went had a fun time. No, you were probably busy with Trent. Yeah. So, and Darius is the one that leads that as a junior class advisor. And then the other is, we have some other standard stuff, but the other one I want to highlight is that under the supplemental contracts, we do have a recommendation for a head swim coach. And so that's sort of the last piece of the puzzle that had to come together. So For high school or varsity swim, we have a location. That's with Vacation Swim Club at Vacation Land Swim Club at Perkins Pool. And now we have a head coach. And then last month, the board approved for the middle school program, pool rental at the Amherst Pool, and 2 coaches for that program as well. So it looks like what we did. I mean, Steve, the athletic director, did a nice job piecing this together. It took time, but we're hopeful for a successful season moving forward into swim. And unless there's any other questions, that's my report.
James, I know last year with the junior class trip, that was, I believe, the first time it had been back since COVID. And am I right to say, like, the projections for the number of kids who attended was a little bit lower than they expected when they initially budgeted for it?
I don't know, but looking at Betty nodding her head, I think so.
I guess, you know, so when I was a junior, back in the day, it used to be everybody went on that trip. I mean, for the most part, like that was just a rite of passage for every junior. I say for you, Jody. And if that's changing, I guess I wonder if we measure that, because I think last year we were probably close to less than half the kids in the class went. Now there might be lots of reasons for that, including we've been off, right? Like it hadn't been an annual tradition, but it's probably something to watch, because I imagine there's X amount of fixed costs no matter how many kids you get, and if we don't get that scale, it becomes a little bit more challenging of a trip to finance for each kid, right? So that's one. The Paris one, do we have like a demand for that, or?
So they had like an initial interest meeting, and Tim said that there were about 30 students who attended. And at the end of the meeting, they said, if you have interest, put your name here. And he said 8 to 10 put their name down. They do need 16 for it to go.
Okay.
And so if they don't hit that threshold, then it would not go. And that trip is entirely paid by the students attending. It's not supplemented by the district in any way. Yeah.
Does the junior class trip have a critical mass established as well?
I'd have to ask Darius. I would anticipate at least a bus load. So yeah.
Yeah, but they take. It's
Last-
not co-ed buses anymore, is it?
Last
Don't
year they
take
took.
a bus of girls and a bus of boys.
Yeah, last year they had 2 buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So.
it used to be co-ed when we were.
That's interesting.
Now the streams do not cross.
I don't know those details. I can find them. That's good to know. Anything else?
I agree, though. I think because you said what, an extra 15,000? I mean, that's bordering on being a little cost prohibitive for some people.
I can tell you some feedback I'm getting from some students that aren't going is because they can't afford it. I think times are tough for a lot of families right now, and it's just not a priority. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. It's just
It might be time to just look for a different destination. It's not.
Kalahari. Woo! No, I'm just kidding.
Something closer, maybe less nights or.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's always great to go to our, nation's capital. But at the same time, if it's not allowing kids to go because it's too expensive, then. For us, and not to reminisce, but it was always such a wonderful bonding trip for the junior class. And it felt like after your junior trip, I don't know, it just kind of solidified you as a class. And I don't know if it's just because, we have more kids off campus during the day now than we ever have, which is not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's just how it is. But maybe there's just a disconnect and there's not that, wanting to be together as a class. I don't know.
Interesting to look at what are the reasons why. Is it a cost? Is it kids participating in a different educational experience who don't feel part of it, who don't? It'd be interesting
No.
to understand what the dynamic is there.
Yeah, I just think last year might be. It's hard to tell if last year was a trend or a one-off because it was new, right? But it's probably something to watch for because I don't think we want to. Well, I would be interested to know if you feel differently about the trip if only half the kids are going.
So at this time, we need a motion for approval of agenda items listed under 5 through 7.
Are you gonna do number 5 through minutes?
Consent.
We're doing the whole thing 5
Yes.
through? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Second.
Is there any discussion about any of those items, 5 through 7? Everybody's happy?
I just had a
Oh,
question.
Yep, please.
For the minutes for September 18th, since I wasn't here, can I just abstain from those minutes?
But
that
you don't
right?
have to.
But I don't have to? Okay.
No.
Okay. Gotcha, thanks.
Sure. Okay, Ms. Sweever?
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mrs. Hartley,
Yes.
Dr. LeFay,
Yes.
Mrs. Mast,
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, item 9, board discussion. Do we have any community? Yes.
Yeah, I would just say.
I'm sorry.
No, I would just say that in November, what is it? November, Capitol Conference is coming up. I forgot the date. But thanks. So yeah, so we'll hear more from OSBA probably up and around and
Yes.
after that. Yeah.
That should be interesting.
If I can throw out, I don't know if this falls under new business or committee, so I don't have a report out, but under the policy side of things, I did want to raise a thought.
Yep.
It's now good. Okay.
Sure, yes. We can do it under new business.
Okay. I can
That's where
wait.
we are.
Oh, okay, great.
Ta-da.
Right on time. One of the things I know we talked about, and James, I'm sorry I didn't preview this beforehand, but the athletic kind of policy manual or whatever we want to call it. I know we've talked about having a code of conduct for athletes, but I'm thinking more about like an athletic department policy book. It just seems like there's an opportunity to gain alignment and maybe some standardization between the various programs and coaches. And I think if I'd be curious to know if the board has thoughts about that, especially people who recently or currently have athletes. But it seems like sometimes parents and athletes they don't know what to expect sport to sport, season to season, coach to coach. And I feel like generally, while there's always going to be some kind of unique things about some different, that there should be in line with our One Huron philosophy, kind of a One Huron way of approaching coach and athlete interaction in sport. So I just say that I'd like to propose that maybe we take a hard look at if we don't have something like that, and then if we do and it needs to be updated, I would be happy to kind of help dig into that. I think that another offshoot of that is then making sure that whatever the policy book is, that we're also doing training and onboarding either for new coaches or existing coaches to level set expectations. So I'll pause there. I imagine this is like a sieve and there's all sorts of thoughts about how to approach this. It just seems like an opportunity for us.
I thought this was already being worked on. I have a copy from several months ago that.
So we have like a coach's manual,
Right.
Which captures board policies that have been put into place. So like reviewing that again could be good. I know it was done late spring into the summer because the document that we had was it had out of date old policies that had been revised since and things like that. So that element was cleaned up. But really the question of like what else, and we have coaches that are new this year or in their second year. It's probably asking them like, what parts and pieces were you confused on or didn't have clarity on, and then asking veteran coaches too, which we have a good amount of those too. What are some things that we need to just kind of like an onboarding, right? A more robust onboarding than here are the gym keys and here's your staff badge, go get them. So
Even like, partnering with Betty's side of the house too, because so many of these programs inevitably involve exchanges of money or finances. And, some of these folks who coach for us are teachers. So, if they have kind of easy access to everything, but some of them aren't. And so again, I think the goal is to try and make this experience as easy for coaches, parents, and athletes as they can, or certainly clear, clear. And I always start with, if we're seeing gaps and things, I think as administrators and leaders, we have to look in the mirror first and say, if we lay out the expectations clearly, my thought is we can do a better job on our end.
I would say in particular when the swim team brought up, communication and direct communication coach to player and how that platform should look. If we could get a uniform platform, I'm speaking as a user from a mom's perspective too. I have half the apps on my phone are from different team things, and if we could all use the same platform, I would love that. But I think if you're looking at it from a liability and safety perspective too, it makes a lot of sense.
So we're saying there isn't updated, because I've never seen an updated handbook. Not to put you on the spot.
yeah, no, there was one that was updated. It's again more of like an administrative guidebook. It's not really like a board, because it already includes all the board policies that the board's approved.
It's not super, my opinion.
It's not robust.
super user friendly. I don't think it really drills into some of the practical
I
stuff.
totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It would be. I never know what app to look at, who scored what.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah.
Yeah.
finding
I
the
know.
scores. Yeah, it's a challenge.
But
I think for parents, especially as freshmen come in and join teams with a new coach, like not even knowing what to expect, and so just having to kind of wing it and figure out the communication channels and what are the expectations for their child and who's where, when, and all of those things.
Who's talking to my child?
And who's talking to my child? Absolutely.
You make a great point too. I know one of the things that came up during the swim discussions last year was a program called Safe Sport, and I don't know enough about that, and I think it'd be interesting to benchmark how many publics. I know, for example, Vacation Land Swim Club uses Safe Sport as kind of it's almost like a standard for, and like a model standard, and then they import it into their rules. I'd be curious to know if that's a best practice for public school athletics, if there's some alternative, but it just seems it deals even with that, like coach and to player communication, just all those things that I think well-meaning people, do, but maybe aren't best practices.
And I think, Stacy, to your point, this conversation has been had for the last 8 years.
Okay.
And I think it gets started and then it stalls, and then it gets started and it stalls. But it really needs to be done well, because we've seen what's happened with coaches and kids and sports and things that we've had to go through, and we really need to make sure we're doing everything right. And especially to Beth's point, as a parent, who's talking to my kid? Who's texting my kid? Who's messaging my kid? There should be a platform that coaches use.
Especially to your point, that transition when you have a freshman, because that's where they transition. The coach is talking directly to your child, and before that, you were always in the loop. So there's that, but it's bigger than that, obviously.
And I think some coaches have, the one my daughter played on, like everybody's on the same platform. There's no separate for students, for parents. Everybody's in the same, so everybody's getting the same information pushed out at the same time and seeing all of those interactions. But I know not all sports are like that. But I think, again, to the point of like one Huron, and I think it makes sense. Just kind of think about that alignment.
student liaison will offer up her
Yeah.
perspective as well. We don't have to do it right now, but I mean, it's part of this ongoing exercise. I would love your eyes on that.
I see the issue because I feel like also there's like a lot of difference between like what's sport. Like obviously I don't play every sport. Like I hear about it from my friends and stuff that like maybe their expectations are different than like expectations for. So I feel like I definitely like the idea of having like a standard for every sport because I play two sports and even like between like the two of them, it's like there's definitely differences between the two. So at the same time, I like the idea of it being like the expectations are the same.
Anything else? Any other new business? Hey, so at this time, do you need to go to executive session? We need a motion to go in executive session for reasons of the appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of employee. And go to Dr. Tapman, who needs to be invited other than you.
I think just those two.
And I do not anticipate any business afterwards. So, gonna have that motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Just want to note the next meeting.
We can, but I feel like something may come out about whether we need that.
True.
Okay. Yes, please, Scuba.
Mrs. Hartley?
Yes.
Mrs. Mass?
Yes.
Mrs. Pinner?
Yes.
Dr. LeFay? Yes. Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Motion passed.
So we're going to. So Lucy, don't feel like you have to say.